I wanna first apologize for my shit voice and me being less on enthusiasm throughout this video because I am sick, but this is Loki and we're gonna do it. Episode 4 of Loki Season 2 is by far the best episode of this entire season. A lot happened here, but at start I was a bit skeptical about the way they were killing time. Once Victor was brought into the TVA, Loki, Sylvie and Mobius were quite slow to act. But anyways, there were a few things which made my eyes wide open. First one was Obi saying he learnt everything that is in the TVA handbook from a scientist from the 19th century called as Victor.
Well, yes I did. But I learned everything I know from a brilliant 19th century inventor named Victor Timely.
And Victor says the same thing, that he wrote it from a guy named Ouroboros. Now, here is the interesting bit. Here, Obi says it is like a snake eating its own tail.
Like a snake eating its own tail.
And this is exactly the meaning of his name, Ouroboros. Ouroboros means snake eating its own tail. Now this also clues us in that this loop thing is going to be the theme of the remainder of the episodes, which we will talk at the end of this video. Now the second thing that was very interesting, that was we got the answer to who pruned Loki in season 1 in this scene. So as you know, Loki was being time slipped in the first episode, and at the end of the episode he was supposed to prune himself in a certain time frame to get out of that time slipping thing, but he failed. But just when he thought that it's all over, someone pruned him, and we got the answer to that now. It was Loki himself, but from the future. So basically everything is kind of a loop. Now I was very happy to see Miss Minutes go and also Ravonna get pruned, because that clock is such a devil. So when Obi figured out it was Miss Minutes trying to sabotage their mission, he resets everything, which also meant Loki and Sylvie get their magic back. Now this will play a very important role in the rest of the episodes, no doubt about that. Now the highlight of this episode has to be Victor Timely getting spaggetified. I was in complete shock as I saw that scene, I really was. Basically it's all over Avengers Endgame, that means we the heroes lost. But here is what I think will happen in the future episodes.
I promise you this will make sense.
First, let me tell you, there was one thing which was bothering me from the first episode itself. Now some of the scenes from the trailer of Loki being time slipped were not shown in the first episode, which means Loki is not done with time slipping. Also remember, there is still one temp pad that works to go back and forth in the timeline, and it is the temp pad of He Who Remains, which Sylvie has from the final episode of season 1. So I think Loki, Sylvie and Mobius will go back in time and try to do things differently, because these lines from the trailer also implies the same.
What I'm about to tell you is going to be hard to believe again.
And it is perhaps the only way they can save the TVA. But one last thing, there is still this big lingering question which begs an answer for. Is this still He Who Remains' plan? Tell me in the comments what you think about this. Before you go, let me tell you that we will break down this episode over the course of this week and try to find answers from some of the questions that we see in this episode.